What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you again for tuning in. It means a lot. It really does. Now today, got a bit of a comparison. I got the R6. I got the M50. They're both filming right now. I'm gonna be flipping back and forth between the whole video. And some people may say, like, hey, Jacob, you know, these really aren't comparable cameras. You know, one's a professional full-frame mirrorless camera. One's like a more of a hobbyist level kind of camera, so to say. And I will agree with you, but how I'm gonna justify it, right? So a lot of people can start with the M50, and whenever they get to a certain point and they're ready to upgrade, there's a bunch of options they can upgrade to. And I know the R6 is in that option list because it was in mine. I've been there, I've done that. I wanted to upgrade, and I did, and I ended up getting it. But was it worth it? Is there enough differences between the R6 and the M50 to justify the $2,000 difference? Let's talk about it. All right, so before we get started, let's just get one thing clear. For this comparison, I'm trying to make it as even of a comparison as I can. Now, on the R6, I am using the 50mm 1.8, the RF Nifty 50. And then on the M50, I am using the kit lens. I have a 50mm 1.8 for the M50, but I want to record in 4K. It is what it is, and that leads to one of the, the drawbacks of the M50 that I'll get to in a minute. It does have a big crop factor when you record in 4K, plus it's an EF lens, so it's an even bigger crop factor, and I don't have enough room in my garage to do that. So we are using the kit lens on the M50. They're a little bit different. I'm okay with that. It helps you distinguish, which one's which whenever I'm switching back and forth a little bit better. And yeah, that's about it right there. So let's get straight into it. All right, now, like I said, the M50 is a great beginner camera. It really is. I started with it, well, I didn't start with it, but it was my first mirrorless camera, right? So I loved using it, I really did. I got mine for $700, I believe. It was something like that. I got the kit lens with it, and I got a few other little things. So it was around $700 or so. And I used it for a long time. I did. I enjoyed using it. I did a lot of video with it. I took a lot of photos with it. It takes great photos. Anyone that says anything different is lying to you, and they just want more expensive stuff. Now, like I said, it does do great video, great photos. The M50 has megapixels. I'm not sure. There you go, it's right there. All right, so it's got that many megapixels. I wanna say it's 23, 24, something around there. I may be wrong, I don't know, you just saw it. But that's how many it has on an APS-C sensor. Now that is one big difference between the M50 and the R6. The R6 does have a full frame 20 megapixel sensor, and it's nice, it really is. The R6 does share the same sensor from the 1DX Mark II and III, I believe. I want to say it shares between both of those. And now, just to give you some, like an idea for photo-wise, if you are more of a photographer, right, and you're doing more photo than you are video, my motorcycle is right behind the cameras right now. And I'm just gonna take some photos of the bike, and I'm gonna put them next to each other, and I'm gonna see if you can guess the difference. Now, obviously, there is gonna be minor differences and whatnot, but as far as editing goes, I'm gonna just brighten them up, mess with the colors a little bit. I'm gonna make them as similar as possible as I can, all right? So let's see if you can spot the difference. How'd you do? Was it close? Did you get all of them right? Did you get all of them wrong? Let me know in the comments. Some people think just because there's a huge price difference that the M50 isn't good for whatever reason, and I really don't know why. It is a great camera. I'll show a picture of it right here. I have a battery grip on it right now from custombatterygrips.com. I believe that's the website. I love it. The M50 was a little bit small, and my bottom fingers were falling off whenever I would hold it, and it kind of felt weird in my hand. Having that grip on there right now extends the battery life tremendously, and it feels a lot better in my hand, so I love that purchase. And that's definitely a downfall of the M50, but it's a good thing about the M50. It's smaller, you know, it's not meant to be some big professional thing. It's meant to be just a good little camera to have with you, right? So good or bad, you know, that's your choice, not mine. Oh no, the R6 died. That battery was not full whenever I started, so it doesn't really surprise me that it died. But I was trying to reach out. So I'll talk about that real quick. I'm gonna try and make each of these points somewhat short so I can get more in. Battery life, R6, it's good, it's not great. You can last, if you do a full day of shooting, you'll definitely need 2, but it's good. Once you start doing video, it is gonna drain a lot faster. The M50, if you're gonna do a full day of shooting, you'll probably need like, I'm gonna say 3. It does die a bit faster than the R6. With the battery grip I have on there right now, it lasts all day. It lasts normally like 2 days or so. I could probably do 2 full days of shooting before I needed to charge the M50 with the batteries it has right now. All right, now a big one for me, big one, autofocus. Now the M50 has good autofocus, it does. You do lose certain attributes of autofocus whenever you go into 4K for video recording, which you do not lose in the R6, but the M50's autofocus is good, it really is. Now, the R6's autofocus is better. I can get closer, I can get farther away faster, and it'll track me a lot better than the M50 will. Whenever you're out shooting photos, I've noticed, especially in like lower light situations, the R6 will grab focus faster than the M50 will. Now, just kind of is what it is. You know, the R6 costs a lot more. It also has the Canon's dual pixel autofocus 2. M50 has dual pixel autofocus, just the basic one. So 1 if you want to call it that. But the R6 is a lot better. All right, it is what it is. But that's not saying the M50 is bad. The R6 is just, it's really good. Now for the video side of things, whenever you are recording, like I said earlier, in the M50, a huge drawback for it is whenever you do flip into 4K, you do get a 1.7 times crop, I believe, which it can be counteracted. You know, you could just get a wider lens and back it off a lot more, and then you can get a normal focal length, or you could just move the camera back. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways you could go about getting around that crop factor, but on the R6, you don't have to at all. It doesn't have any kind of crop factor whenever you go into 4K. And it's just, it's nice not having to deal with that. Like I said, on the autofocus part, whenever you go into 4K on the M50, you do lose certain bits of the autofocus, which you do not lose in the R6. So as far as video goes, I am gonna give the R6 it's definitely winning there. Same thing for the autofocus. How does it feel in your hand? Is that a big thing to you? I don't know. It's a big thing to a lot of people. How does the camera feel in your hand? If it doesn't feel right in your hand, you're not gonna wanna hold it. You're not gonna wanna go out and take pictures because you don't enjoy the experience. The M50, like I said, it's tiny. It's meant to be tiny. It's not trying to be something it's not. I put a battery grip on it to make it something it's not, which is something bigger, so it feels better in my hand. Now, even with the battery grip, I will say the R6 feels a lot better. The grip is deeper, it's wider, it's heavier, it feels more full, complete, just substantial in your hand. Now, some people will complain about the weight of the R6, you know, it's a little bit bigger. I'm not gonna do that. It's not that heavy. It feels really good in your hand, and it's not heavy enough to cause an issue. It's heavy enough to feel good and not make me worry about what I'm holding. It just feels higher quality. Now back on video, I'm gonna play some videos right here, like I did earlier with the photos, and I want you to tell me if you can figure out which one is which. This is an interesting thing I've done before. I actually recorded this video a few months ago and I lost all the footage, so that's why we're doing it again. But I'm gonna record these videos real quick. I'm gonna put them side by side, and I want you to tell me if you can figure out which one is which. Once again, I made this as similar as I could. I'm gonna make the colors look about the same. Other than that, let's see if you can get it. One quick side note. Like I said, I wanted to make this as even a playing field as I could. So I do have a monopod. I did have both of the cameras on the monopod to minimize camera shake as much as I could. I was going purely for a video quality aspect right here. So take a look at these videos and let me know what you see. Kind of crazy, huh? Makes you wonder, like, is there really that big of a difference? Just depends on who you are, you know? Now, let's get into value for money, or just cost in general. Now, the M50, right there. I don't know the updated price of it, I'm not gonna lie, but I checked before I made this video public. It's right there. I wanna say it's around $600 to $700. The R6, you know, I know that one off the top of my head. I wanna say it's like $2,600, somewhere about there. Big price difference. We're just gonna call it an even $2,000 price difference between these cameras. Now, is there a $2,000 difference in performance for what you're getting? Now, for that, I am gonna say it depends what you're doing. If you're just a hobbyist and you like taking pictures of the kids and taking pictures of the family, or going to a car show, going to a sporting event, anything like that, I am gonna say the M50 is probably enough. I highly doubt it's not. In all reality, your phone's probably enough, because smartphone cameras are crazy nowadays. I have the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and I've taken some crazy shots on that. Pictures that could be confused for professional level pictures, and it is what it is. Anybody can do it now, but that's beside the point. M50, is it good enough? I'm gonna say yes for most people. Now, if you are a dedicated photographer, even if it's just a hobbyist, but you do wildlife, you do avid sports photography, a lot of low light stuff, maybe, no, I'm not gonna say portraits, because you can get some banger lenses for the M50. Faster paced stuff that requires a little bit more oomph from your camera, I am gonna lean more towards the R6. I have both with me at all times. They're both in my camera bag together at all times, pretty much anywhere I go. 99% of the times, I'm not grabbing the M50, I'm grabbing the R6. For all my YouTube videos, I record with the R6. If I'm going to do any kind of paid work, I grab the R6. You know, it's great. It shoots super fast. 20 frames a second electronic, 12 frames a second mechanical. It's awesome. The M50 can't keep up with that. So if you're doing sports, this is where the autofocus comes in also, and being able to actually follow something. The R6 is just destroys sports. It's great. Anything fast, it does an amazing job. So I think you could understand what I'm kind of getting at right now. If you're not a serious photographer, you're not really doing paid work like that, you just enjoy the art of photography, get the M50. You know, I really think you would like it. I love it. I really do. I'm not going to talk crap about it at all. It is a great camera, especially for how much it cost. The EFM line of lenses isn't really that great, but you can get an adapter, put EF lenses on it. I do it. The R6, it is a phenomenal camera. I don't care what anybody says. You know, megapixels aren't that high, but I've taken some crazy photos before, and 20 megapixels has always been good enough for me. Would more be nice? Yes, it would. But I don't have it, and I'm not worried about not having it. That's the big thing. So for me, I love having both. Whenever I do paid stuff, whenever I make my personal videos like this, I use the R6 at all times. It just feels better to me. It seems better to me. And that's because it is better in every sense of the word. It's $2,000 more. You're expecting better. That's why it's hard to compare these cameras, but like I said in the beginning, is it worth the jump? If you're doing that paid kind of work and you're doing bigger stuff like that, I would say yes. And I don't think you would regret it, because I definitely have not. And it is expensive, it is. But it's worth it to me. Is it worth it to you? Guys, let me know down below in the comments, what are you shooting with? Do you have a smaller camera? Do you have a bigger camera? What do you use more? And in what situations do you use it in? Because I'm curious what y'all are using out there. A lot of the times, if I'm just messing around or if I'm trying to teach somebody, I let them use the M50, and then I'll just use the R6 and I'll kind of show them what's going on. But like I said, let me know what you're shooting with and what you do with that camera. Guys, if you feel like you got something from this today, drop a like on this video. It is greatly appreciated. This has been the R6 versus the M50. What is my personal pick? It's gonna be the R6. It is what it is. I love my camera. I do. But I love the M50 too. Like I said, drop a like on this video if you felt like you got something out of it today. If you enjoyed what you saw and you want to see more, subscribe, ring that notification bell so YouTube lets you know whenever I upload new content. Guys, if you got any questions, drop them down in the comment section. Other than that, I will catch y'all next time.